President Zelensky finally made a tough decision on Bakhmut, and just let me know today in the comments after hearing all the details whether you support this decision or not. At the same time, Russians lost up to 90% of their forces in one of their most recent attacks, and ultimately Ukrainians are about to finalize the creation of the offense guard assault brigades. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And let's go straight to the point and see some most recent footage. And today, as always, we begin with a very interesting video, which came to us from the United Arab Emirates. And right here, we can see a Mercedes G-Class in a very luxurious setting by Mansory. And as you can see, the seats are in Ukrainian flag's color. And long story short, the creator of this automobile said, if you want to support Ukrainian forces but you don't know how to do it and you have a lot of money, you can buy this car, which is $950,000. Alright, next we go to America, and as you can see right here, both Ukrainians and American soldiers are training to use American armored personnel carriers Bradleys and Abrams tanks. Next we have a video from France, where Ukrainian soldiers are also practicing how to use French tanks AMX-10RC. And then right here we have a picture of a minesweeper called Alkmaar, and the countries of Netherlands and Belgium pledged 2 of them to Ukraine. And speaking about the deliveries of the Western military equipment to Ukraine, among them will be air defense systems. And as you can see from this map, this will be the area of coverage of those systems, which will include NASAMS, Hawk, RST, Patriot and SAMP-T. Okay guys, so my wife just left the apartment. No, she didn't leave me, she just went to do some exercises. So first of all, let's all together please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And also today is my wife's birthday, so as one of the gifts, let's all subscribe to her Instagram channel. It is called Experience It, and she posts there pretty much daily, so she will extremely appreciate it if you can all subscribe. I will appreciate it as well, so thank you so much. She has been working so hard. Okay, and now let's get back to the news, because recently the country of Poland announced that they will be sending their MiG planes within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And speaking about the aerial vehicles, recently the American MQ-9 Reaper drone has been hit by a Russian fighter jet in the Black Sea area. And you most likely already heard about it, but I will present you the official position of the Ministry of Defense of Russia, which, as you might have guessed, is pretty ridiculous. So, according to the American and European version, the Russian fighter jet was flying recklessly next to this drone, it hit its propeller, it was dumping the fuel, which basically made the drone collapse. But according to the Russian side, and get ready for this drone was recklessly flying up, down, left, right, making crazy maneuvers. Probably some American soldier was showing off in front of his girlfriend, and eventually because of this it lost control and crashed on the water surface. Yes, just like this. In order for me to find this information from the Russian side, including the strongest and the craziest Russian propagandists, because as you might have imagined, some of this material was blocked due to geolocational restrictions, and so I had to use a VPN, which brings a perfect opportunity to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN. But what is this even VPN? Well, this is a virtual private network which will allow all of your internet traffic to travel safely through a protected and encrypted tunnel. And this way it protects you from the data breach, malicious software, and of course the Russian hackers. And I was able to get an incredible deal, so get ready for this. Not 50, not 75, but 83% discount for a 3-year deal with 3 months for free, and it only comes at $1.83 per month. And in order to activate this limited time offer, please use my link in the description, it's extremely easy. But wait, there is more. With Atlas VPN you can finally use the public Wi-Fi, you can finally see movies and TV shows on your favorite streaming platforms, such as Netflix, which recently have been unavailable due to geolocation restrictions. And so right now, if you want to become a part of the Russian duty VPN gang, please use my link down below. Make sure to take advantage of this limited time offer, which gives you 83% discount, 3 months for free, and unlocks all the features of safe VPN browsing for only $1.83 per month. And if you are still not satisfied, there is a 30 days money-back guarantee. Thank you so much Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video, and now back to the program. Alright, and before I talk about the battle where Russians lost estimatedly up to 97% of their forces, let me briefly give you an overview from the south of Ukraine. And our first picture comes to us from Odessa region, where Russian missiles were targeting this city, but they were intercepted. But unfortunately, due to the debris, some local residential buildings and a kindergarten has been severely damaged. Then we have the report by the Institute for the Study of War, which claims that Ukrainians increased their raid activities on the left side of Dnipro River against Russians in Kherson region. Then we go to Melitopol, where there was a very loud noise and then a car has been set on fire. And later on, it has been confirmed that this car belonged to the Russian infiltrator and collaborator in this region, Dmitry Kucherkov. YouTube might not like this video, that's why I had to blur it, but if you want to see the uncensored version, it will be on my Patreon, the link is down below. Then we go to Mariupol, and as you can see from this picture, Russians started to dig trenches and create fortifications along one of its main roads. And as you can see from this satellite image, this is the northern highway which leads out of the city and goes all the way to Donetsk region. In addition to that, the local students in Mariupol were called to visit the military enlistment offices just for a routine checkup. And then, speaking about this, in Voronezh region, suddenly a new conscription cycle has started. I mean, digging trenches, erecting fortifications, or bringing new hidden mobilization, it's definitely not the signs of a panic among Russians, right? But okay, because then we have even more significant news, is that Russians attempted another assault to the southeast of Vuhledar, but Ukrainians were easily able to repel it, inflicting significant losses on Russians. But wait, there is more. During this failed assault, Ukrainians were able to retrieve this notepad, which belonged allegedly to a Russian officer, which uncovered pretty devastating statistics for Russians. And what it basically says is that in the beginning of this month, on March 1st, there was a similar assault by Russians with 100 people, and only 16 of them returned. But then, on March 5th, Russians sent another group of 100 Russian soldiers, where only 3 of them returned, which means that 97% of the Russian forces in this attack have been lost. If this is not yet another confirmation of the Russian military commandment using 100-year-old tactics of sending waves after waves of soldiers, then I don't know what else it is. But okay, and before I talk about the tough decision that President Zelensky had to make in regards to Bakhmut, let me give you a brief update from the east. And first of all, as you can see from this video which came to us from Kiev, Ukrainians slowly but surely started to remove these defense structures from the capital's roads. Then we go to Bryansk region inside Russia, where another very loud noise has been reported, but the local authorities as always claimed that this was just the fighter jet doing the supersonic speed. Our next stop brings us to Belgorod, which shows that Russians have been launching missiles against Kharkov, but one of them malfunctioned and fell inside Belgorod city. The local authorities once again claimed that these were Ukrainians attacking them. Then we have the report by the Institute for the Study of War, which claims that Russians continued their offensive along Kupiansk, Svatove, Kreminna front line. We then even have this intercepted phone call about Russians, complaining that Ukrainians are using HIMARS against their oppositions near to Kreminna, and if you want to hear the full version with English subtitles, I uploaded it also on my Patreon, the link is down below, and there is 1 week of free trial. As we take a look at this map which shows us the changes in territorial control, we can see that Russians advanced a little bit closer to Yampolivka. And then right here we can see that Ukrainians were able to liberate a little bit more area surrounding Belohirivka. Next we have a video from Kramatorsk, which shows us the consequences of a Russian missile falling in the civilian neighborhood. And as we go to Bakhmut itself, Russians reportedly completely lost the momentum of their attacks to the northwest of the city, specifically near Khromovе. At the same time, Ukrainians remained successful to the south of Ivanovsky, but Russians increased their attacks to the north, northwest and northeast of Bakhmut, as well as to the southwest of the city, but the situation to the east of Bakhmut remained unchanged. We even have this picture of Wagner soldiers who claim that they were able to take a factory Vostok Mash under their control. And then right here we can see how the situation around Bakhmut front lines has been changing in the last couple of days. But according to the same report by the Institute for the Study of War, Russians were not able to achieve a turning point in this battle, nor able to surround Ukrainians. And most likely, because of this, President Zelensky had a meeting with the Supreme Commander-in-Chief Staff of Ukrainians, where he had to make a tough decision regarding Bakhmut. And after considering all the factors and seeing that Russians are not advancing significantly, while Ukrainians are able to inflict significant losses on the Russian forces, Zelensky made the decision to continue the defense of Bakhmut. They also revised the supply of weapons to the city and talked about the new fortifications. Because after all, in the entire month of February, at a great cost of thousands of Russian lives, they were only able to advance 0.039% of Ukrainian territory. And I mean, they're still trying to capture Bakhmut. In 10 long months, they were only able to capture a little bit more than half of it. And now Russians are standing in front of Bakhmutivka river. And if you remember, Ukrainians previously already destroyed the bridges across Bakhmutivka, which means that the advancement of Russians will be even more complicated. And this is also taking into consideration already massive losses of the Russian forces, who since the beginning of this war estimatedly lost approximately 160,000 people, and a third of them, 50,000, were lost near Bakhmut area alone. We can say the same thing about Wagner, which had approximately 45,000 in the beginning of this war, and now they only have 7,000 left, which shows us a significant decrease by 85%. And for all these reasons, most likely the decision to defend Bakhmut was made. Because after all, Ukrainians are able to rapidly deplete Russian forces while allowing them to barely advance. But wait, there is more. Besides all that, Ukrainians started and already almost finalized the creation of their own assault brigades called Offense Guards. According to the head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Igor Klimenko, approximately 28,000 volunteers submitted their applications to be a part of these brigades. And this is also taking into consideration that these 28,000 were carefully selected. It's not just like that you submit your application and you'll get enrolled 100%. The training of these forces has already started and they're still recruiting volunteers, but the new ones will be placed into the reserves. The Ukrainian authorities will use these forces whenever needed, and most likely they will try to synchronize them with the arrival of the Western military equipment. And as soon as all these things come together, the ultimate and final liberating counteroffensive will begin. And this is in addition to already existing 4 brigades in Seversk, Slavyansk-Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka and Chasiv Yar of approximately 20,000 people who are just waiting for the right time to liberate Bakhmut and then counterattack across the entire or at least a big portion of the eastern front line. So as you can see, the counteroffensive of Ukraine is inevitable and will most likely happen sooner rather than later. And if you don't want to miss it, just please consider subscribing to my channel. It only takes 1 click. And now everyone's favorite part of me trying to speak like I'm the radio announcer. Okay, get ready for this. And if you want to support my work, please consider becoming my channel member, use the PayPal link or become my Patreon. All the links can be found on the right and down below. Thank you so much for your attention, товарищи, and see you tomorrow.